Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. It's great to have you here, especially if you're joining us for the first time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay with us as we dive into today's incredible story. On the morning of June 25, 2025, a secret coalition led by Russia launched a sudden wave of stealth missiles against one of America's mightiest warships, a $13.15 billion floating fortress. At 6:47 a.m. on an otherwise calm June morning, the USS Abraham Lincoln became ground zero for a terrifying new kind of war. Swarming underwater drones surrounded the carrier, stealth cruise missiles flew just above the ocean's surface, and deep below, silent nuclear-powered predators lurked in wait. But in a stunning twist, America's skill and strategy flipped the ambush on its head, leaving wreckage at the bottom of the sea and sending a chilling message across the globe. Join us as we break down exactly how this happened. At exactly 6:47 a.m., the USS Abraham Lincoln was confidently making its way through the cold North Pacific, cutting through the waves like royalty. Over 1,090 feet long, displacing over 100,000 tons, and carrying nearly 90 advanced aircraft, it represented the very peak of United States naval power. With two nuclear reactors pushing it past 30 knots indefinitely, it was a $13 billion marvel packed with layered defenses and home to over 5,200 sailors. It was flanked by three Aegis-class cruisers, their vertical launch systems loaded with SM-6 interceptor missiles, and two silent Virginia-class submarines patrolled below as an invisible shield. Together they formed a deadly 40 nautical mile spread of steel, sensors, and firepower. To the untrained eye, this looked like absolute dominance. F-35C jets sat ready on deck, catapults primed, radar dishes sweeping across a cloudless sky. In the Combat Information Center, all digital displays showed only routine cargo ships and scattered fishing boats across the Sapphire Sea. Every time this ship sails, it carries more than metal and fuel. It carries the weight of America's promise. If anyone thinks they can challenge that, come try. We'll be waiting. But then, below that peaceful surface, the first sign of trouble appeared. A sonar operator aboard the USS John Paul Jones leaned forward, frowning. There was a strange, organized pattern of faint sonar returns about 50 meters down. Not whales, not floating debris, something moving too deliberately. He swallowed hard and radioed in. CIC sonar here. Multiple new contacts bearing 071, range 12,000 yards, depth 50 meters. They're maneuvering together, likely unmanned. Chills swept through the operations deck. No alarm sounded, but eyes sharpened. Within moments, the carrier strike group went to condition yellow. Crews scrambled to stations. On the Lincoln's deck, Seahawk helicopters powered up to deploy dipping sonar. Despite all its firepower, the mighty strike group had become an unknowing target, drifting over vast blue, with something calculated and patient lurking beneath. Within 15 minutes, the sonar room lit up with even more contacts. What started as just a few blips quickly grew into more than 20 distinct tracks, all moving in tight formations. These weren't mines, not random fish. These were machines. Unmanned underwater vehicles, or UUVs, the latest generation of silent predators. In the CIC's dim blue light, a voice broke the tension. Over 30 UUVs, steady depth, evenly spaced. This is coordinated. Lincoln's group instantly moved to DEFCON 2. No sirens, but everyone understood. This was serious. Weapons teams moved with precision. Missiles were armed, CIW's turrets readied, watertight doors slammed shut, but the sea wasn't done. At the same time, radar aboard the USS Shiloh, a Ticonderoga-class cruiser, picked up fast-moving objects skimming just 10 meters above the waves, coming from the east, fast. These weren't typical missiles. They flew erratically, hugging the ocean to avoid radar. Moving it up to Mach 1.5. Computers flagged them as loitering kamikaze drones. On Lincoln's bridge, the XO grabbed the edge of the chart table. Multiple aircraft incoming from heading 082, 230 kilometers out. Fast approach. A crackly voice came over comms. Recommend maximum alert. This is a multi-domain coordinated strike. Someone's planned this. Flight crews rushed to secure jets. Seahawks lifted off, hunting the threat. Meanwhile, electronic warfare teams maxed out the SLQ-32 system, jamming targeting signals with pulses of interference. What was once a symbol of power became a tense, high-alert fortress stalked from below and hunted from the skies. At 7:38 a.m., the horizon shifted. Something new was coming, beyond even the Spy 1 radar's range. US recon satellites quietly reported heat signatures rising along a distant sea boundary. These were long-range stealth cruise missiles flying just 3 meters above the surface, blending into wave clutter. Their radar signature was barely detectable. By the time the USS Shiloh's torpedo team filtered out the chaos, they were only 180 kilometers away, moving at 600 knots, battle stations activated, vampires inbound, dozens of SM-6S launched from multiple ships arcing high before diving to intercept. The CIWS guns spun up, metal whines screeching. Even C-RAM defenses, normally a last resort, were primed. Explosions lit up the sky. 30, 40, 50 fireballs marked successful hits. Drones and missiles rained harmlessly into the ocean. But not all were stopped. Some cruise missiles punched through. At Mach 0.9, they closed in fast. On board Lincoln, air raid sirens howled. The first missile hit near the forward catapult. The shockwave shredded an F-35 Charlie on deck and sent debris flying. Another hit portside, rupturing a fuel line and sending flames racing across the deck. Crews fought bravely, battling fires and preventing secondary blasts. Yet through it all, Lincoln's nuclear core kept beating, turbines pushing it forward even as black smoke rose into the sky. A grim reminder of the mastermind behind the ambush. This wasn't a reckless strike. It was a highly coordinated, multi-domain probe designed to test even the world's most advanced layered defenses. And somewhere out there, beyond radar reach, a hidden hand was writing a new chapter in naval warfare. For the first time in decades, a United States aircraft carrier had been scarred. Like what you see? Hit subscribe. You won't want to miss how this battle ends. By 8:12 a.m., damage control teams had partially cleared Lincoln's flight deck. It was scorched, littered with wreckage, but still operational. The reactors were intact. The ship's power unbroken. Launch the birds, came the order. Immediately, 2 MQ-25 Stingray drones roared off the deck. These were refueling drones, but now equipped with advanced sensor packages for wide-area maritime surveillance. At 25,000 feet, they flew over 200 nautical miles ahead, scanning with synthetic aperture radar and infrared systems. Suddenly, the picture became clear. A modified cargo ship, around 300 feet long, moving slowly through the scattered chaos, but radiating unusual thermal signatures and drone command links. This wasn't a civilian vessel, it was a mothership, a drone command and control node orchestrating the attack. The Lincoln's captain gave the order engage from long range. Nearby, aboard USS Mobile Bay, vertical launch cells opened. 2 naval strike missiles launched, flying low and fast to avoid defenses. At the same time, 2 MQ-9 Bravo Sea Guardians launched from a forward base, guided by satellite. As the NSM strike ships closed in to within 10 nautical miles, the enemy mothership lit up with desperate countermeasures. It launched chaff flares, fired infrared decoys, and sprayed short bursts from its automated guns across the waves. But it was too late. The NSM missiles weaved right through the weak defenses and struck the center of the ship in rapid succession. Twin fountains of fire and steel erupted from the mothership, destroying its communication systems and sending flames roaring up its superstructure. Above, MQ-9 Bravo drones circled overhead, confirming the kill. Moments later, they made sure of it, dropping precision-guided bombs that shredded the stern and left the vessel listing badly to port. The impact on the battlefield was instantaneous. Dozens of unmanned vehicles that sonar had detected just hours earlier suddenly began to act erratically, losing coordination as their encrypted commands disappeared. Some stopped completely, floating to the surface like sunken metallic corpses. Others wandered aimlessly, becoming easy targets for lightweight torpedoes dropped by Seahawk helicopters. Aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln, muffled cheers broke out across the coalition forces. The tactical screens that had just been glowing with enemy contacts now faded into calm sonar sweeps. For the first time that morning, the strike group's commanders could breathe a little easier. They knew this was only one battle in a much bigger, hidden war, a war that had only just revealed itself. Far away, in shadowy rooms where this attack had been planned, the bad news was already on its way. The Gambit had failed, spectacularly. Its most advanced assets were lost, sent to the deep. For now, US aircraft carriers will continue to patrol the oceans, unshaken, uncompromising, and always ready to strike wherever freedom is threatened. By noon, the Pacific looked calm again, its mirror-like surface hiding the wreckage below. Destroyed motherships, crippled drones, shattered submarines. The USS Abraham Lincoln sailed on, her command deck still scarred by smoke, but her spirit unbroken. This day began as a cunning ambush, combining stealth drones, underwater vehicles, and mysterious nuclear predators. But with quiet resolve and unmatched integration of air, sea, and subsurface power, the US Navy flipped the script. Somewhere in secret war rooms and dark intelligence circles, bitter calculations will be made tonight. For the world, this was a harsh reminder. Even the most sophisticated plots against American power can end in utter devastation. And what do you think? Was this just the opening move in a much larger war? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to News and don't miss the next video. Like, share, and leave us a comment. Your